I got enthusiastic with the other raised bed coming out, so I'm actually going to take this one out. Before I do that though, I need to prepare it. So the first most important thing is to try and repot the parsley, which is from a supermarket parsley. My youngest really enjoys it, and they have actually said don't do this, don't move the whole sort of thing, but I really want this growing space back. So I'm going to try and pot this on safely, and then I'll clean the rest of this and I'll see how I go. Maybe I won't pot it on, maybe I'll just go and put that straight into the garden. That's a decent clump, and that's actually got the basil with it, so I think I have a spot for it. I will go and do that and then I'll come back. Okay, so we'll try that again, in a similar way at least, this time with the pineapple. I guess back to hyperlapse. Okay, so now it's mostly about moving all the pots and things somewhere safe. I don't think I'm super fussed about the other bits and pieces that are planted in there, because a lot of it's sort of volunteer stuff anyway. But I'll put that on hyperlapse, get it all clean, and then I'll actually bring the wheelbarrow in so I can move a lot more of the stuff in one go this time. Okay, here we go. I think it's time for the wheelbarrow now. I guess I might as well do this on hyperlapse as well. I think we can already see the problem here. There are a lot more branches and things in here than there should be, and a lot of it is a lot more dense, certainly a lot more dense than the other part. The part that's remaining, you can sort of see it over there. There's actually a big cavity underneath it, which is from where a lot of these branches have been pulled from. I won't even do this bit on hyperlapse. I'm just going to quickly go through it. Well, not necessarily quickly, but I'll go through that part, and then we'll have a look at how we go after that. Okay, so one of the things I've found through doing all this, quite a lot of worms, which is good. That soil is all nice and soft. Get my hands through it nice and easily. So I now just basically need to find the screw points and unscrew it, because the benefit I have with this one is that I can essentially just sort of take the sides off and then smooth out the soil afterwards, because I don't need to work around other things as much. Well, other than, you know, the crops. As an example of the difference of the wood type, you can see here these are much larger pieces of wood. Basically, that's obviously the trunk stump of one of the trees that no doubt I took out from the front yard. So the context of that is about a year ago, at the start of last year, I decided for some reason that I was going to actually start looking into getting the garden to look the way I wanted. We've been here for about 6 years at that point, so obviously it takes me 6 years to figure that it's worth changing the garden. But since then, obviously I've built the greenhouse, the pond, the bench, the temporary branch trellis at the moment. Also, I've done a very quick patch job of some of the gaps here with just cardboard. For the moment, they should be cutting out some of the breeze that comes through. Obviously not a great solution, not a permanent solution, but quick and easy. Anyway, yeah, there's not, sorry about quick turnaround there. There's not a lot of soil here, I think, compared to last time, and that is because of the bulk of branches and things that were in there. So I'm going to now go and check the garage to get my drill, not screwdriver like I said last time, but the drill, and I'll remove the screws and see how I go breaking this down. I might start it again at the point of doing that. We'll see how we go. Okay, so primarily done. I just need to obviously knock all the soil off there, bring that out. But you can see how that gives a lot more, hang on, it gives a lot more space for growing. I'll have to do this as a not mounted one in a bit, but that's for the moment. I'm just going to keep going, and then I'll bring you in again later. Bye. Okay, so this line here, I'll get my finger out of the way and you can see it, is the concrete boundary. So on this side is soil and goes down to soil. This side, as much as it looks like it, that's actually just bits and pieces have fallen off from doing potting and things. But as you can see, a lot of the greenhouse is actually concrete floor, which is why I had the raised beds. That raised bed will stay as it is because that is over the concrete floor and I can still grow some things in there. But having this part open means I can now get to these weeds more easily. As it turns out, the bricks did a reasonable job of suppressing them. But as you can see, that corner there I couldn't really get to when I had the raised bed. The other thing is, this window does actually open, so in summer that's a nice big open window with fly screen on it that I can open to get a bit of air through here. This is the fly screen window from the bay window, this one here, that broke, and you can see the big dent in the top there and on the sides. It's very hard to put back in properly. This is a window that I got for free to replace it. Excuse the noisy neighbour dogs. It's not quite the right size, which is why I've got this wooden chock along here. Actually, that's the wooden chock. This board is actually just sort of pressure fit in there to sort of stop the breeze coming through. I still need to find one for here, even if it's the same size as that one, that I can sort of jury rig in, because I don't think this plastic sheet is ideal for the environment. But anyway, that now gives me all of that space to grow in as well. As you can see, I did end up putting those broccoli in, and that also gives you a bit of a better view of the outside. So this was a big window. So this one is one monolithic piece, which came with, as it were, this bay window and that bay window, and they make up the bulk of the window space here. And then there's a shower door and a shower screen that I made some fairly rough but workable frames from with a router, I can never remember which, I think it's router for that one. That's also a little sliding window, and it's got a little plant sort of motif with it, which I quite like. It does slide out. I've put a block in there at the moment, and it is screwed in, but I can unscrew that, so again, when someone comes around, I can open that up to get a bit of air through. But also, having the raised beds out of the way here means I can more easily reach the roof sections to try and actually patch these bits properly. And obviously there are points where it leaks. These bits of piping, I kind of need to cut them in half so they can make proper guttering, because at the moment the water drips onto them, runs around, just comes down off the bottom, so it's not a huge help, but that's okay. However, that is not a bad bit of work for today, I think. I'll probably just tidy up a little bit. I might move those bricks out because I can probably use those, possibly even just to top up the garden edging or something like that. And you see all the wood, the branches and things like that came out of it. So there we go. Second raised bed, which is kind of part of the same L-shaped piece, but taken down, now ready to prepare for some planting. Excellent. Anyway, thanks for viewing and happy growing. Alright, so one final bit before I sign it off properly. I put some more of the tiles around the edges. That's basically just to try and prevent the edges of these bay windows, which are actually wood when they've all been painted, but sort of try and help that last a bit longer. I've put the plants that were in pots in and around that raised bed now on just the soil. That one I've actually potted on. I think it might be a spinach, but I'm not entirely sure. There's my lovely orange tree, the apple, and the pineapple that's now been potted on. But that is my new growing space. Obviously, I've got a lot of things in here that need to be tidied up, but I can do that another day. And now I'm booked in tomorrow to collect some more manure, so that's good. There we go, we'll back out as the final shot. And close the the greenhouse door. There we go. Happy growing.